Hey, hey everyone, it's Jeremy again with another video for you fellow twin flames out there having a hard time. And this video is for the twin flames. Why was it so good once upon a time? Why was it so good once upon a time? And why is it so bad now? So think for a moment when you first met that person and you started spending time together and everything was amazing. Some people call that the bubble love stage, or the natural essence stage, whatever wording you want to give it. There was a magical stage of interaction that you had with this other person, and it felt like it was just you and them. Time stood still, and everything was amazing. It was unlike anything you've ever experienced. So that happened, and that happened for a period of time. But then something happened to stop that. Something occurred. One or both of you did something to break being up in the clouds, if you want to call it that. And everything came down from the clouds. So what was it? Why was it so good? And what made it stop and start to create all the friction and drama? Well, let's start with why it was so good once upon a time. And I can use my own situation as an example. And I'm pretty sure your situation also applies. When you're in that bubbly stage, that cloud nine stage, where everything was flowing, you were not thinking about the past or the future or where you stood with that person. None of that was occurring. And the other person was thinking the same thing. You both were just being. You were in the present moment, fully and freely giving and interacting, fully expressing without being in your head thinking about what you should say or do, when you should text. There was none of that. Everything was a full, natural expression and giving of everything you had. And it made for the most magical, connective moment. What stopped that was when one or both of you started to get in your head and started to think about the situation and what it meant and where you stood together or other things like that. And when those earthly constructs or those rules, whatever you want to label it with, started to come into play, that caused a drop in that bubble phase. And now the interaction started to steer toward what is this, where is this going, and things like that. And slowly over time, one of you felt smothered. And my guess is that if you're watching this, it was your counterpart who felt smothered, who felt afraid and ran away, and you felt devastated, disconnected from. You were left holding the bag, so to speak. And why did that happen? Why couldn't that bubbly phase, that amazing, free, expressive phase last? Well, it can't last because one or both of you are not at the level where you can sustain that level of freedom and interaction. And that goes for both of you. In my case, it goes for both of us. Wasn't able to sustain that level of the not thinking about it. And it takes a tremendous amount of work on yourself to get to a point where you can interact at that level. One of the things I have done to get myself there is to go out and date tons of people and to fail at it and to feel those bottom of the barrel emotions happen with some of the ones that I really liked. And as I've done that over and over and over, I'm building this muscle, this emotional muscle that I already had years ago when I was interacting with my counterpart freely without any expectation whatsoever. And so in a sense, I'm working hard over the last few years just to get back to how I was able to act in that moment. And I suggest to you, my fellow twin flames in this situation who have been disconnected from, that you learn to do the same. I'm not suggesting you do what I did or am doing and date hundreds of people, but I am suggesting that you work on that emotional muscle. You learn to focus on the present moment. You learn to focus on the here and now without expectation to the future. Meditate. Listen to music. Spend time on yourself. Get out there and fail at some things, and then realize it's okay to fail. In all your interactions, breathe and stay detached from whatever outcome you think should be there. And as you do this, you will strengthen yourself to the point that you can consciously interact in a way that is that same free expression in the present moment without thinking about the past or the future. When you were first with your counterpart, you were acting that way unconsciously, subconsciously. It was not intentional. It just happened. That's how it was for me too. It just happened. And now that you have the knowledge of the situation and what happened, now we must all learn to be that way intentionally and consciously. That's way harder. It's way harder because now we have the knowledge of the whole situation that we didn't have before. And so now we must learn to consciously act that way, which is many, many, many times harder than just the flow that happened when you're in that bubble phase with your counterpart. I know how difficult this situation can be. I know how painful it can be for all of you. But I believe that is the answer to why things were so great and then what messed them up. And that to solve that, we must consciously learn to be freely expressive and detached from outcomes and give people the freedom, full freedom, and zero pressure. And that's what I feel must happen for there to be any chance of you to interact with your counterpart again. You must learn to be consciously strong and free and clear of expectation. I feel for all of you that are in this situation and are having a hard time, but the situation is an amazing blessing. It's an amazing blessing. And as you take the time to work on yourself, you will learn and grow and find happiness and fulfillment that you didn't know was possible. Enjoy the gift of this situation. It is a gift. I'm wishing you all the best. Light and love. I'm here in my rehab. Recovering is going nice. I should be out of here by Friday. It's Monday today. And doing videos in my regular spot. I give you all light and love and wish you the best. Until next time.